2 out of this. That might be a little bit big, but I'm gonna try that one. I'm gonna go for 4 now, for now. Why? Getting kind of dark. I got all week. January 1st, these things are gonna be involved in the biggest beaver war blitzkrieg mankind's ever seen. Sort of, kind of. Well, we'll see. But that's the goal. You know, that's the goal. So, I don't want to be the guy that's telling you something that I don't do myself. Because I do understand when you have people that don't see themselves in a good light, okay, and you give them a false sense of hope, it actually reinforces their negative nihilism whenever it doesn't work out. And I see this with the PUA guys, or whatever you want to call them, the pickup artist guys. They usually never know how to pick up girls anyway. And Con 330 Conibear, 1,001 uses. Okay, yeah, this one's kind of heavy. Okay. Well, if the beavers can do it, I can do it. I'm going to catch me a beaver. I'm going to put a harness on him. And I'm going to drag the bush with it. It'll be awesome. It'll be epic. Freaking epic. And my gloves are wet. At least my boots are dry. Although they're 2 sizes too small for my turn. 3 sizes too small for my feet. But that's trapping. But again, I want to give you guys good advice. But also to let you know that, yeah, life is going to throw a lot of hard things at you. And you're going to have to work through it one way or another. My life isn't perfect. Is yours? Probably not. But, you know, there's nothing, I don't have any major regrets. I haven't ever really hurt anybody. Oops. And I think I live in, you know, in a good community. I live with people, you know, close to family. The stuff that's important, the little stuff, right? It all adds up. And that supports me, which then allows me to hopefully pass on those teachings and messages to help you. And the idea is quite simple. I've always talked about how you should make eye contact with people when you talk to them to build confidence. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And the benefits are unbelievable. I think this is going to take a couple of days to get this home. I got a mile to go like this. So, yeah, that's trapping. There we go. Maybe I'll only take a couple to home. But at least I can skid it out to the road. Not like I could have found anything any closer. No, I couldn't do that. That'd be easy. Remember I said a little while ago, my philosophy in life is to make life as easy for yourself as possible? I have failed again. But it's a worthy fail. That looked like a nice stick there. Sometimes, you know, I bite off more than I can chew. Try to do too much in the lazy man's load, as you call it. And then it's like, okay, well, use the lazy man's load method to get everything as far, and then tomorrow come back, grab a couple at a time, whatever, and get them home. But tomorrow I'll be coming back with another trap, so sorry my camera's falling down, but so I don't want to set these anywhere. I'll set that one there and that one there. I want to bring one of those big ones home. I'll bring one small one, one big one, but I don't want to lose them in case it snows tonight, because I can use that one big one for my main trapping thing that I got to do. So I'll take this one, and I guess eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I guess I'll take this one. This looks like a good one. Okay. It's just too awkward to take all 4 of them. As long as I bring back a couple each time, 3 or 4 each time, I'll have them all home. It's not like I'm going to be able to finish everything I want to do in one night. Just watch I don't lose my trusty Pippin Hawk tomahawk. So yeah, there's going to be upsets in life. And when you get these guys out there, these life coaches that try to over butter you up, a lot of times they're doing it for your money and stuff like that too. And again, you know, there's a market for it. I'm not going to bash it. But when you're giving advice, and you know, I got to take my own advice here too, is that I got to be careful that you got somebody that's really messed up listening to you, and they can't recognize that they're messed up. They're just looking for a quick fix. Well, what I got to tell you, there is no quick fix. It's a lifelong lesson. You know what I mean? Life is a lifelong lesson until you die, and you gotta own it, right? And when you're owning it, you got to take the bumps. You're going to end up, by the time you're old and gray, you're going to look like these things. You know what I mean? So, you get what I'm getting at, that there is no free lunch. There is no coasting through life. There's no joy in coasting through life. You have to get out and you got to do things. But what happens if you don't know how to do things? Because nobody's ever taught you. Nobody's ever give you little quick tips like divide the load so it's easier to drag around. Then you got to learn by yourself, right? But even if you don't have a mentor, here's the little rub. Just because the information doesn't come to you doesn't mean you can't find the information for yourself. You know, there's always a story out there. There's always an inspiration. There's always something that could tell you a direction to try. And then it's just a matter of the bravery of getting out on that ice. You know what I mean? Not literally, but metaphorically. And then there's the knowledge of how to navigate that ice so you could avoid the pitfalls, i.e. make life easier for yourself if you can. But that ice is going to be there. You know, and that's what trapping teaches you, is these little lessons, these little, you know, seeing things for what they can be. Like a dead stick that's probably been laying on the ground for 20 years. Probably more like 5. That still has a lot of strength left in it. It's beat up, like I say, it's battered. But when I'm done with it, it's going to look pretty good. It's going to clean itself up. It's going to find a new purpose. Its past won't matter anymore. And it can go from there. Now, for some of you, you got a heavier past than I do. And I don't envy you for that. I mean, I was never an alcoholic. I was never a drug addict. I was never abused by anybody. So I got it pretty good. And I can appreciate that. Not everybody had that. But I did grow up with people that didn't have that. You know, that did have rough homes and stuff like that. And I've seen how they turned out. They turned to the drugs and all that stuff. You know, people with mental illness. If you ever know people with mental illness, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. You know what I mean? It's cruel. And I was lucky, I never had that. So, I'm not going to give you one of those, because I'm privileged, I have to go and save the world. No, you're doing that for your own ego. You're not doing that to better people. But what I can say is, what's worked for me so far may work for you. You know, here's the story you might stumble onto. Maybe it'll inspire you. Maybe it'll teach you to do something that you didn't think you could do. And you'll learn skills. And you'll make mistakes. You'll make lots of mistakes. And you'll hold those mistakes against you for a little while. Then you'll learn how to deal with mistakes so that you don't make them again, but you own the ones that you did. And then you'll say, hey, you know what? I did that mistake before. Here's what I got out of it. And then that story might enlighten or inspire or red pill somebody to kind of not go that route. Are there wolves howling? Well, if they're howling, they better be at my bait. I didn't put the bait out yet, but the trap's there. Yeah, mistake number 1, put out the bait before you set your trap. Actually, no, I'm doing it the other way around. Setting out the trap before the bait, because when I bring the bait, it's going to be, I'm going for blitzkriegs. Basically, get everything set up, and then when it's whoop-ass time, bring in all the bait and the lures so you can catch everything in one night. Try to outsmart my opponent, you know what I mean? I.e. beavers. Don't even get me started on wild chickens. Damn wild chickens. I'd throw this pole at him if he was right here. He'd do it to me. So wild chickens can't be trusted. They cannot be trusted. But yeah, I figured I've seen other people doing the bushcraft stuff, and you know, again, it seems like the only thing that gets accepted by the main things is, you know, like I always say defecating defamation of oneself, that you're weak and you need help and you need all this. You may need that, but you may be also strong enough to be the own help you need, and then you might be strong, even slightly stronger, to help others. So that's what I'd rather tell you, rather than giving you a false sense of hope that you're gonna be really great with the girls and all that. Either you are or you're not. I mean, I've always looked at that stuff a little bit differently. Being as a Gen Xer, we've always had a little more fortitude when it came with the ladies and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean we got everything right. I mean, we had more of a hound dog effect, right? Which, you know, has a lot of negative things that, you know, lead to bad things in relationships and stuff like that. So, you know, we may have had more confidence to approach a girl, but, you know, our intentions might have been a little more nefarious. And because of that, we don't win, right? You know, two people don't win, actually. And now we see the drawbacks of just, you know, just going after what you want all the time without consequences of, is it what you really want? You know what I mean? That's the big thing. I've always said, don't look at what you want, look at what you don't want, and then play process of elimination. But don't get to the point where it's so ridiculous that nothing can ever live up to your standards. Don't be too rigid, you know what I mean? Accept life has its curveballs, and